Hey everyone, Gill Gross here. Post-match, Daniil Medvedev versus Felix Auger-Aliassime, Australian Open 2024, round 3. If you're not here for spoilers, click off the video. Daniil Medvedev comes through in straight sets to advance to the 4th round, where he will face not Grigor Dimitrov. He will face Nuno Borges. Wow. I was more focused on this match than that match, but wow. I don't have the nicest things to say about this FAA Medvedev match, to be completely honest. I think Daniil was actually far from his best, at least for 2 sets. Now, I think by the time the 3rd set came around, Medvedev had found his energy, his intensity, and I think Medvedev played very well in the 3rd set. But in the first 2 sets, I don't feel that way, and he still won 3 and 4. And that kind of tells you how I feel, where I feel about Felix's performance. Because as I was watching Medvedev here, I was thinking, wow, that 4 a.m. finish in his previous match when he came back from 2 sets to love down against Emil Ruusuvuori, it seems like it has affected him a little bit. And then sure enough, after the match, Medvedev said that he's probably about 80% for this match physically. So, he didn't come out with focus and intensity. A lot of neutral errors, especially in the beginning. I mean, you watch the first 3 games. I don't know how you could say that Medvedev didn't play really badly, and he still was up a break after the first 3 games. So, that part is unfortunate for Felix. Ultimately, I come away thinking that there were 2 problems here. One, what Medvedev does, Medvedev's skills, really does present a major problem. I want to start by talking about the matchup here. And after I'm done talking about the matchup, then I'll talk about Felix's performance and Daniil's performance individually. But let's break down this matchup for a second here. So, how do you beat Medvedev, right? You can't serve him off the court. Felix does that to a lot of players, but you can't serve him off the court. Really doesn't matter who you are or how good your serve is. Not going to happen. You can't blast forehands through the baseline and expect to get finishes. So it doesn't matter if you have the biggest forehand in the world, right? It doesn't matter if you're Rublev. It doesn't matter if you are, Berrettini or if you're Felix, right? If you're just going to try to blast forehands through the court, it's not going to happen. Daniil's defense and his absorption is too good. Let's talk about what you can do against Daniil. What's possible? So you can come forward and finish at net. Well, Felix just doesn't execute up there. He was up there 15 times for the match. That's not a big number. He's pretty hesitant. He's pretty selective for when he moves forward. And therefore, when he is up there, usually, in this match especially, he has pretty makeable, somewhat easy volleys. I don't think he got passed a lot in this match. I thought he got pretty easy volleys. He still only won slightly over half the points, which is not what you want from offensive positions. So he doesn't execute up at net. You can hit drop shots against Daniil. I saw him hit 1. The entire match, I saw 1 drop shot for Felix, which to me is crazy. You can hit a lot of sharp angles and change direction a lot. Felix doesn't really do that. It's not his baseline game, On the forehand side, he doesn't really find the sharp cross-court angle. On the backhand side, he kind of struggles to change direction and to be precise with that backhand in general. So he doesn't really do that. So Felix doesn't have easy ways to finish points on his own terms. Okay, what else can you do? Can you outlast Medvedev with shot tolerance? I mean, maybe there are some guys who can challenge Medvedev in that area. Very few, but some. Certainly Felix is not one of those guys. He's far less consistent than Daniil. And the longer the rally goes, the more you like Medvedev to end up winning it. So he can't do that easy either. So you see where I look for a path to victory for Felix. I have so much trouble finding it. And the head-to-head, it's 7-0 now for Medvedev. Now, I know that Felix had the one match where he had a match point. He was up 2 sets to love 2 years ago in the Australian Open. Let me just say about that specifically. January of 2022 is the best I've ever seen Felix play. That entire month. ATP Cup to the Australian Open, it is by far the best I've ever seen Felix play. It's the outlier in terms of his career. And to this date, I really, and if you remember my analysis back then, I was like over the moon. I'm like, oh my God, if he plays like this, he's going somewhere. It just, he didn't really keep that up, what he was doing there. So that's the context for the one time Felix played him well. But in general, it's been a tough matchup for him. So, okay, so that's the matchup part. I also think, there is a performance problem for Felix, which is not too different from last year. Now, don't get me wrong. I think he's in a better place last year physically. The mental side looks better, the confidence, and he's already won more matches than he did at times last year when things were at their worst. But last year, my big thing with Felix was the strengths need to be better. So often we focus on weaknesses when we talk about why a player is losing matches, but oftentimes when you see a top player who's already done great things fall off, usually it's the things that got them to the top, their strengths getting worse, not their weaknesses, which they probably had even when they were up at their peak. They probably still had those weaknesses. That's not why they decline. They decline because the strengths get worse. And that's what I saw from Felix last year. Well, I don't know. There have been a lot of matches, like even the team match in the first round, where I felt like, okay, the serve, it could have been better. So let's talk about the strengths for Felix. I'm talking about the first serve and the forehand. That's what makes him great when he's at his best. Those are the weapons that he brings to the court. Movement's pretty good too, but those are the main weapons that he brings to the court and wins tennis matches with. But to me, if the serve is your shot, you need to make more. 61% in this match. That's fine. That's not so bad. But if it's your primary weapon to win the match, if that's going to be your calling card, think about what we talk about a lot of the time with Alexander Zverev matches. If your first serve is going to be your best friend, then it probably does need to be better than that to beat a Daniil Medvedev. It's got to be better than that, 61%. The forehand, that's a much bigger problem than the serve even. Same thing. If your forehand is your strength, you have to make more. He made 25 forehand unforced errors in this match. 25. That's an entire set plus 1 point. That's how many points that is. Forgetting the fact that games can go to deuce. You know what I mean. Look at the second set. Medvedev broke twice in the second set. Neither game went to deuce. So we're talking about 8 points that Medvedev won. 7 of the 8 were missed forehands from Felix. The other was a missed volley, backhand volley where the footwork was off. Third set, the one game he got broken. He missed 2 forehands in a row to go down love 30. Now Medvedev, his antennas are up. He's going to play the next few points great because he knows that's his chance with the love 30 lead. So forehand's killing for him. Is really hurting Felix. Now, shifting gears to Medvedev, I think I've covered FAA enough. I think you kind of get where I stand with him right now on this match. There were some nuances for Medvedev. The backhand down the line was huge for him, and this also goes down back to a matchup thing where Felix doesn't read the Medvedev backhand down the line very well. He's almost always late getting there or reacting to the Medvedev backhand down the line because he has a natural cheat to his left. Every time Medvedev is hitting a backhand, unless he's like stepping inside the court, clearly in an offensive position, that's a different story. But anytime Medvedev is in a somewhat neutral position, hitting a backhand, Felix's brain is wired to look for a chance to run around and hit a forehand. Like, that's deeply ingrained, as it should be. He doesn't want to hit a backhand if he can hit a forehand. But I think that wiring and that natural bias to the left for the righty, it makes him late on that Medvedev backhand down the line, which, by the way, is very hard to read because he seems to hold it really late. It's got that difficult to read quality. And then it's very precise and it stays low and it skids through the court. And it's not just Felix who's victimized by this. It's everyone who looks to run around their forehand. Rublev is victimized by this in a huge way. Alcaraz was really hurt by this at the U.S. Open in the semifinal when Medvedev's backhand down the line was just on fire. And Alcaraz has the same thing. He has a little bit of a bias to look for the runaround forehand. So Medvedev always does a good job of attacking that. And then the second thing is, ironically, the second thing is that his second serve was really, really good. He averaged 101 miles per hour on it. He only double faulted 4 times in 3 sets. That's a good number. And with that kind of speed, he just went at the body of Felix and he jammed FAA on the forehand side quite a bit. And the second serve has looked vulnerable at times for Medvedev. So it's really good to see Daniil come in with a very good forehand second serve performance here against Felix. I think big picture, the good news for Daniil Medvedev is he hasn't really gotten to his best, or certainly he hasn't delivered a complete performance. You look at his first round against Terence Ottman, that was like, there was no separation between him and Ottman until Ottman started cramping. That's when Medvedev kind of ran away with the match, but it was really a physical KO there. Rusevori, we know he went down 2 sets to love. And then, here I think you can blame the 4 a.m. finish 2 days ago very easily. I think that's more than fair. But still, it was like, okay, we know that he has more levels to get to. If you're Medvedev, you're feeling good because eventually he's probably going to, continue to improve, and his draw is opening up as well. Rune is out. Dimitrov is out. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.